Money Talk.
Here comes the money.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the DubCast podcast. Today we welcomed on DORMROOM DEGENERATES. DORMROOM has a fantastic backstory. He is a fast flyer on the scene, coming in from TikTok and building out his presence on Twitter. You will love getting in the brain of somebody who has capped profitably across all major sports categories. He gives some great wisdom and advice, educational content on how to become a profitable sports bettor. I know you guys will enjoy it. DORMROOM DEGENs, what's going on, my friend?
How's it going, brother? Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Good to see you too. It was fun having you on our company all hands last week, and everybody was thrilled to get to know you and just really hear how well spoken you are. And I know that the DubClub community is excited to have you on DubCast.
Yeah,
today.
It was awesome. I'm super excited to be partnered with DubClub now. Big things are coming.
That's awesome, bro. All right, let's dive right into it. I want to hear your backstory. I want to hear how you got your start in the sports betting space. I see nothing but green from you in your recaps, and I want to dive into what your daily process is. But to start, let's dive into your background a little bit.
So we'll start with a pretty funny story. My first ever bet, I took it with my buddy. $2. I was risking $200 to win $2 on Virginia money line, March Madness against UMBC, 16 versus a 1 seed. We all know how that happened. First time ever, I was like, I'm done with sports betting. I'm never doing this again. 2 weeks later, I was ripping NBA playoff bets with my boys, and I've just been in love with sports since I was a little kid. Growing up, Red Sox fan, Capitals fan, Bills fan, just huge sports fan. It was only the next step. It was eventually going to happen. As the space got bigger and bigger, I had to indulge a little bit, but it didn't really start till, I want to say, my senior year at college. My buddy and I were like, we followed this one handicapper on TikTok, and we were like, dude, this dude sucks. Like, he's just horrible. We got to start doing this. We can be so much better than this guy. We started out, wasn't great at sports betting. I was giving out like 25 plays a day. The only thing I was doing was looking at teams that had a better record than the other team, and if they were an underdog, I was taking them. Now, I would never ever do that because that's a horrible handicapping strategy, but that's how it first started. Obviously, it's grown since then. I have a connection with the Toronto Blue Jays, a scouting analyst. He helped me make some algorithms a couple summers ago, and ever since then, oh my gosh, it's just taken off. We've hit over 56% for 3 years in a row now. This past year was the first time that I dove into like systems, so I use Action Labs and compare that data with my algorithms, and pretty much that's how I come up with the plays every day.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's a quick turnaround from the most square bettor on all of TikTok to the sharpest.
Absolutely.
So what a
sure.
transition for you. In terms of kind of pairing, you mentioned that you built these models, or you built them in tandem with clearly a data scientist, so that always helps. And then you started incorporating these systems as well. And I know you're a sports junkie just in general. And so those are like three different kind of betting styles, betting approaches. You got the model, you got the systems, and then you have kind of that general gut feel.
Yep.
When you're building a slate, where do you pull from the most of those three outlets?
Yeah, so definitely the algorithms. The systems are more for a background of picks to look at because, I have, in the Action Labs, I have over 2,000 that it pulls from. So it brings me up a slate of plays every single day. And from those plays, I'll look and see what the algorithm says. And then I'll also look at bet percentages, the splits, just to see, because if the system likes something, the algorithm likes something, but it's getting 97% of the bets, that might scare me off of it. Stuff like that. I also think one of the biggest things that a lot of people don't look at is how the line's moving. Getting closing line value is huge. So if you can notice like a line drops a half a point, it's probably going to drop more. So if you like that play and you can snag it earlier and get a better line, long run, you're going to be a winning bettor.
Yeah, that's one thing. I tune into your content on TikTok each and every day, and one of my favorite parts about it is how educational it is. And you're not keeping any secrets to yourself. You're letting everybody know, and all your followers, kind of what goes into building these slates and how you've profited and how you've hit at 56% over the course of all these years. What do you feel like has propelled you to not be afraid to share these tricks of the trade?
When I first started out, if you go back way on the channel, the videos were horrible. I mean, it was like we were reading off a script, my buddy and I sounded like a robot, and then one day my girlfriend was like, dude, you're just horrible at this. Like, you either got to change it or find something else to do. And she makes TikToks a lot, so she was giving me some tips and tricks, and just over time you get comfortable with talking to yourself on a camera. I mean, it's super awkward. I had my buddy start up a page, and he was like, dude, I can't do this. He's just like, I can't talk to myself on a camera. He sounds like no emotion. He's just talking like a robot. So I think that was the biggest thing, just getting comfortable, knowing that I'm going to get hate in the comments every single day from people, just accepting it. It's part of what we do. I mean, if you find someone that, gives out anything that's other than sports advice, they're going to get great comments. But for some reason, the sports betting industry, it's just everyone loves to hate. They don't think that people can actually win. So that was definitely the biggest thing for me.
You've had I think it's 10 straight days of profitable free plays, and people are still in your comments throwing hate. That's the gambling world for you, in a sentence. Let's dive into different sports. You handicap a multitude of different sports. It's hard enough to be profitable in one. How have you been able to find profit through pretty much all the major sports leagues?
So I think it's diversifying the system. So I don't focus on any sports leagues until they start, if that makes sense. So I wasn't worried about MLB in the preseason, didn't look at anything, didn't look how teams were doing, didn't look at any acquisitions. I look at the data as soon as the season starts, and I honestly think that's one of the biggest things for me, because last year in MLB season, I looked forward too far into the season, thinking about how teams might shift, dynamics might shift. Started out super hot in April, and then couldn't win an MLB bet in May. It was horrible, and I was like, I'm just looking too far ahead. Got to take it day by day, and also just having a general background of the sports. Like, I know a lot about the NFL, MLB, NHL, and then college basketball. NBA, I don't follow too much just because I don't like it, but we have systems for it. We crush the NBA every year. This NBA under system that I use is just absolutely money. So it's just trusting the data. There's a lot of people that think they know better than the math, and you don't. It's just not possible to know more than a computer. So I just 100% trust in what I've built and the systems that we've built over here. So just trusting the data 100% and not thinking too much about it.
Your NBA season was an absolute scorcher from start to finish. We still have about a month and a half, maybe even 2 months, depending on how long the playoffs go, left in the year. Is that the sport that you're able to find the most value in, or do you feel like there's a specific sport where there's the most value to be had?
So I think there's a couple ways to answer this question. The easiest way to answer this is MLB has the most value because there's 162 games. So if you're a profitable sports bettor, you should make the most money on MLB just because there's the most games, there's the most money to be had. The second way to look at it is college basketball. There's a lot of parity in college basketball. So that's I think that's a great sport for people that are looking to get into sports betting, trying to become a winning sports bettor. I think you got to dedicate your time to college basketball. The lines are not as sharp by Vegas as they are for professional sports, so there's a lot of value to be had, a lot of money to be made. If you could identify good spots, you have some data to back it up, I think college basketball you can really crush. I would say NHL is the hardest sport to actually handicap along with baseball because they're money line sports. There's not spreads. So a lot of people will see, the Yankees are minus 170. Oh, that's not too much juice. I'll just lay the juice. Whereas if you get a team in college basketball that's minus 170, you're like, oh, that's a lot of juice. I don't know if I want to lay that. Maybe I'll just take, the 4.5, 5 points. So I think that, for people starting out, if you can't be disciplined with betting hockey and baseball, it can turn pretty bad.
Yeah, both of those are long seasons. Obviously, tons of travel with MLB, there being 3-game series, sometimes even 2-game series, guys flying all around the country, you really never know who you're going to get in that given day. And it's similar with college basketball. I feel like, you have unranked teams blowing out ranked teams all the time. And you've been able to navigate that in a very profitable manner. Next, I would love to dive into your philosophy on taking spreads, taking over-unders, player props. What is your favorite kind of bet type, and is there a reasoning behind it?
This is going to be an unpopular answer. My favorite bet in all of sports is an under. No one is going to like that answer. I absolutely love them. I have no idea why. I love low-scoring, hard games. Both teams are just going at it. I just love that kind of game. I love betting unders, and the math backs it up. Over time, if you bet an over and under, like if you were to just bet every single under, you're going to lose money. But if you were to bet every single over, you'd lose a lot more money. So there's already a small edge towards the under, and if you can identify spots, you're setting yourself up for some profitable days. The next I would say is underdogs. Just underdogs on the money line in baseball. They're just, for some reason, it feels like they can just win every single game. Like, you have the A's last night against the Orioles. I mean, who saw that coming? Like, they were like plus 200. They blew them out. Good example, last night, we were on the Royals money line. They were like plus 150 against the Rangers. They won 10-1. They just blew them out. Just any given day, there's a lot of value in dogs and underdogs. So that's where the majority of our bets lie.
I love that. If you were to ask any old head that has lived out in Vegas for 30 years and makes their living sports betting, they would have the same exact response. So that's a good sign there. And funny anecdote about the Orioles. Of course, I was on the Orioles last night. That's why you're the one sending out plays to hundreds of subscribers, and I'm the one sitting here interviewing you.
A couple of my buddies were on the Orioles last night. They were losing it.
That's beautiful. In terms of, you've given a lot of great advice, obviously, in a short period of time. What is the number one factor in your success? Because, like I said earlier, it feels like every time I, tune into your recaps, it's profit night after night after night. What would your advice be to young sports bettors just getting started?
Be disciplined. That's the most important thing. If you can't be disciplined and you're going to chase after losses, it's absolutely impossible for you to win long-term in sports betting. The second thing, again, an unpopular answer, don't parlay. You're just paying a massive, massive tax. You're already paying a 10% tax with every bet. And for everyone that doesn't understand what I'm saying, when you have a bet that's minus 110, essentially you're paying a 10% tax on that bet, because when you lose, say you're a $100 bettor, you lose $110, but you were only going to win 100, so there's a 10% tax on that. I think if you get up to like a 3-leg parlay, it goes up to like a 38% tax or something like that. So those are the two biggest things. Have your slate set for the day. Place 5 to 7 straight bets. Turn your phone off. Watch the games. Don't allow yourself to bet anything else. Over time, even if you lose, you're going to lose a lot less than you would be if you were parlaying and chasing.
Once again, the reason that you are the one sending out plays to subscribers and I'm not is because I love a good live bet on a side that I already played, and then I go 0 for 2 for the night instead of just 0 for 1.
And
so,
additional little add-on here. Live betting can be very beneficial. I think there's a lot of great value you can find in live betting, but just be aware that when you're live betting, you're paying a 15% tax now as opposed to 10%. So the live lines are automatically set at minus 115. So in order to be a profitable sports bettor at minus 110, you have to hit it 53% about. Minus 115, it's even higher than that. So if you're going to live bet, make sure you're good at it.
You're clearly very good with numbers. When we first met, I think you mentioned that you were a business major or an econ major of some sort. How has that background helped you in crunching the numbers day in, day out? Because as you mentioned, it really is just a matter of being able to analyze numbers.
So I was an accounting undergrad, been around my numbers my whole life, just naturally been good with it. For some reason I can just see everything in my head and work it out. And then got a degree in stats as well. So I've just been good with numbers my whole life. I love doing it. I love inputting different formulas into my algorithm every day, trying to tweak it, make it better. Stats, it's just awesome to me. I love breaking down, where we lost or might have won a game. You have a team that outshoots someone 38-15 and lose, and you're like, how did they lose? And then you look, oh, well, they had more power plays, whatever it may be. I just love breaking down every game and seeing where we can get better.
Yeah, that's super interesting, and I'm curious, when you do notice that your model or your algorithm isn't quite spitting out the numbers that it should be, how do you go in and make these tweaks? I don't even know how these models get built or how you can adjust them. Is it a change in stats or that you're pulling in, or how does that work?
So for the most part, everything's finalized. So when we did it, it was pretty rough. We were hitting like 51% for a couple months. We weren't giving out plays from the algorithm yet. And then, over a course of 3 months, we noticed, oh, maybe this stat doesn't matter as much. Or, oh, maybe we have to factor in home crowd attendance. Is it a sellout? Is there 5,000 people in the stadium? So that was one of the huge things, honestly, because we were getting a lot of like underdogs that should be favored, and we're like, well, they obviously shouldn't be, or else they would be by Vegas. And we're like, why is that? And we weren't factoring in, crowd attendance, or we gave each stadium a score based on their home field advantage. So that's also weighed in. Like the Tampa Bay Rays have a very small home field advantage, whereas someone like the Phillies or the Yankees or the Red Sox would have a much larger home field advantage. So I think it's just growing with the times. Systems get hot and cold. The algorithm gets hot and cold. It's part of sports betting, but I think tracking and seeing where Vegas is making adjustments as well. I know in the 2021-2022 college basketball season, there was a system where if you just like faded every ranked team when they were on the road or at home, it was super profitable. And this year it got killed. So Vegas adjusts. They see where they made mistakes the year before, and we have to adjust every year. If we took the same process into 2023 as we did 2022, there's no way we're gonna have a winning season.
That's incredibly interesting. The home field advantage score, I feel like, especially in like college basketball, where these guys are 18-year-old kids and may have come from small towns and haven't played in front of these big crowds. And, when you're at Cameron Indoor and there are 30,000 screaming fans and you've never played in front of more than 1,000 people, that can be overwhelming. So that's incredibly interesting, and clear to see why you are the one helping people profit day in, day out. You have helped me profit. I've been tailing you for a while now. Ever since you onboarded a DubClub, I'll poke in and check out what your slates are. And so thank you for that, building my bankroll. It's been super fun talking with you, Dorm Room, and I cannot wait to have you on again, especially as we get a little deeper in this MLB season, because I know MLB's been very profitable for you thus far, and so I'm excited to check in maybe around the All-Star break and see what tweaks and adjustments you've made to your model.
Absolutely. We had a huge day yesterday, 6-1. Only loss was we were on the under in the first playing game yesterday. We got hooked. Went over by 1 point.
That's
it was brutal. I don't know if you were watching the game, but there was a phantom foul called on DeMar DeRozan. He hit a free throw, and that was it. It was horrible to watch. But we wanted the 7-0, but we'll take 6-1. Appreciate you having me on. Look forward to continuing to grow together, and hopefully you'll be on soon again.
Absolutely, brother. Have a good one.